Hi everyone, I'm Grace from Gardening for Joy, and today I'm going to show you how to decorate a light switch cover or an outlet cover with the dried pressed flowers. This is probably one of the funnest, easiest, and really most beautiful things that you can do and decorate around your house. It's interesting because I have them around, and we had a contractor come in one day and he looked at my light switches and he said, "Oh my gosh, those are so pretty. Where'd you get them?" And I told him I made them, and he was rather impressed and told me that, I should be selling them. So it's a simple project that you can do, and I'll show you how I do it. Um, just by way of just showing you what I'm talking about, this is just a really basic light switch cover, right? Just one of these white plain ones that very simple design. I just glued a few flowers on it. Another example, again, just a few flowers on a light switch cover. Again, like I said, you can do outlet covers also. So I am going to go ahead and adjust the camera, zoom it in so you can actually see what I'm doing. Okay, I am back. I've zoomed the camera in a little bit, and let's talk about what supplies you're going to need. So, of course, you're going to need some dried pressed flowers. I have a big collection. I store them all in a binder that I keep here, and on the blog you can look at how I store my flowers. I use Mod Podge, matte finish Mod Podge. I've used this for most of the things that I've done with pressed flowers. Works really well. Of course, you always need just a pair of tweezers to handle your flowers. I like this long kind of neck type of a tweezer, very easy to use. You need about a 1/4-inch paintbrush, so not like a pointy one, but one that is about a 1/4 inch in width, right? So that'll help. And then I just use a little bowl that's reusable to pour my glue into, right? Of course, you need your light switch covers. And so let's go ahead and get started. So first, I just want to mention that your light switch covers, make sure you clean them before you start. Little soap and water is all you need after you take them off, but you need them to be nice and clean before you go ahead and get started. So I am going to go ahead and pour a little bit of glue. Don't need a lot, right? So just a little bit there. I do kind of like to wipe off my glue, otherwise it can become a bit of a mess. All right, so in front of me, I have 3 light switch covers, right? A double one, 2 single ones. These ones are ones that I had done previously. So for the demonstration today, I'm going to go ahead and do this double one. And the double one, the flowers aren't glued, but I've done my design, right? So generally what I like to do is just lay out my design first, and then go ahead and bring it on in front of me. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove the flowers. I'm going to set them very close to where I'm going to put them back on. Down here, I have some leaves that are separated. And then I've got the flower. By the way, this is Russian sage. I dried it last summer. Dries absolutely beautifully. Just check, make sure you don't have any debris on your light switch cover. Perfectly clean. Any plant debris I just kind of brushed off. Now, again, the simple part. I'm just going to go ahead, put some glue onto my paintbrush, and I'm just going to put a thin layer of glue on the light switch cover. So I'm going to do, since this is, a larger, I'm going to do one side at a time. You don't have to do the edges, just the top, right? And you can just paint the glue on, that whole side. And so different than some of the other things where we put the glue directly on the flower. In this case, we're going to put it right on the light switch cover. And then I'm going to pick up the Russian sage and I'm going to place it down. I'm going to gently press it. And, don't worry if you get fingerprints on it, that's okay, because what we're going to do is we're going to be putting multiple layers of glue as a finishing touch over this. All right, so now I'm going to go to the middle of my light switch. And even though I may not be putting flowers on every single part of the light switch, I'm still going to go ahead and give the whole light switch a coating of glue, just for consistency, right? Just so that one part of the light switch doesn't look different than the other part. Again, you do not need a very thick layer of glue, just a thin layer. You don't really need it on the side here. Not a big deal if you get it on the side, but you just don't need it. Okay, so again, that's a very thin layer of glue I've put on there. And so now, let's see if I can place my leaves on here. And then go ahead and place the one piece of Russian sage on here. I got a little piece that came off, so I can get that off with my tweezers. Or okay, I'm going to now do the last part of. Again, got a little bit of a, I don't know, some kind of a thread on there. I'm going to do the last part of the light switch with glue. Again, I can't tell you, don't go nuts with the glue. Just a really thin layer is all you need. I will tell you that, if you have plants with a stem on them, the stems can be a little bit trickier to stick on. The other thing I try to do is I try to keep my brush strokes with the glue going in one direction, because the glue, you will be able to see it when the glue dries a little bit, not much. Okay, so then I'm going to just place my last flower and gently press it down. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set this aside for a moment. And I'm going to go ahead and show you another one. Now, a flower that I started pressing this spring, that is just probably one of the most beautiful flowers in my yard, are the bleeding hearts, right? And I'll show you this. Of course, this isn't glued yet, but these bleeding hearts, oh my gosh, they're so beautiful. They press really nicely. And so if you have a bleeding heart bush in your yard, yeah, definitely try to do them. So now in this case, right, I've got kind of half of my flowers on the bottom, half on the top. And so I'm going to do the top first, and then I'll come back and do the bottom. So I'm going to take these two flowers and put them to the side. Again, get my glue. So, it doesn't matter what section you choose to do your gluing with at all, or the timing of it. Because I have this one bigger piece that kind of spans the bottom, seems to me more logical to just do the top first. I'm going to pick up my flowers, and I'm just going to place them. My other one, and just place it. I'm going to take off the bottom kind of branch of bleeding hearts there, and I'm just going to put some glue on the bottom half now, just to be able to glue down that branch. Again, thin layer, don't need more than that. Don't go nuts with the glue. I can't emphasize that enough. You just don't need to do it. And then just be careful as you're putting your flowers on. You don't want to get in the way of the screw holes, right? And you do kind of want your whole flower, if possible, to be on the light switch cover. So I'm just kind of manipulating it around a little bit just to make sure I can get it on, but without impacting the screws. All right. And I have a little excess glue there, so I'm just going to kind of move it away. Okay, perfect. So I'll just show you that. I can turn that around and show it to you. Really pretty. I'm probably going to, and maybe I can do that. I'll do it later, but I'm going to probably cut with a scissor that little piece of stem off, just so, because it'll be just too hard to glue down. All right, so let me go back to my first piece here. That first coat of glue is almost dry, and I can go ahead and put a second coat on. So with the second coat, the big thing is I want to make sure now that I get the flowers, because the glue is going to put a protective coat on top of the flowers. Right? So you're going to just come back. Again, it doesn't have to be thick, but you do want to get that protective coat of glue on the flowers and on the stems. And you see, I'm just gently going over everything. This will also help it to stay more firmly in place. But most importantly, because a light switch cover is kind of used a lot, right? Especially if you have it in a busy place like a kitchen, where you're turning your light switches on and off a lot. You don't want to have to worry about the flowers getting ruined by people accidentally touching them. So what I do on the light switch covers is I generally give the flowers at least 3 coats of this glue. So this is coat 1, which I will then follow by 2 additional coats. Again, make sure you don't have any clumps. I also then like to fill in, even around the light switch cover where I didn't have flowers, just so that there is consistency and it doesn't look like anything is rather different on any part of the light switch cover. If I were to just do the flowers, you might be able to see little pieces of glue in one section that you don't see in other sections of the cover. And again, not that particular, but most people wouldn't even notice it, but if you get up close, you will notice it if you look closely. But most people, to the naked eye, aren't going to notice anything. When you're putting the glue on the flowers, you can go a little bit thicker than what you did on the actual light switch cover. That's okay. Now you can see here, I'm just kind of going around the other sections of the cover that I didn't get by doing the flowers. And you just kind of look and you can kind of eyeball and see where everything is. But again, conservative with the glue. So now I'll let this dry. And probably in about 5 or 10 minutes, I can come back and I can do another coat. Let me just show you what I'm going to. I did have a scissor here. Oh, yep, here's my little scissor. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just see if I can snip that. Yeah, I just snipped that little thing, that little piece of the stem off. And you can see also I have one little piece of the flower that's kind of hanging over here on the edge. And so I'm going to try to glue it down. Let's see how we can do with that. And so I put the glue there and I'm going to hold it for a few seconds because it is a coarser piece of the tip and it may not want to hold down as readily. So if you do have something like that, hold it maybe 16 seconds, maybe a little bit longer until you get it to actually glue down. And so that seemed to work. And it gives a nice little effect also when you see kind of a piece of your flower going over to the side. So again, all I'm doing here, I'm giving the flowers a coat of paint to protect, a coat of paint, a coat of glue, which is going to act as a protectorant on the flowers, right? So as people turn the light switch on and off, if their hands hit the flowers will be protected. You want to try to make sure the flowers are completely glued down. You don't want a piece of the flowers sticking up, because that will just lead to the possibility that somebody will catch that piece of flower or that stem that's sticking up, and then that could cause it to get pulled off. So just make sure everything is glued down. Nothing is sticking up. Again, here I'm just now filling in along the rest of the light switch cover. My little piece there on the side is holding down pretty nicely, so that's great. Make sure that stem is good and glued down. Okay, well, that's really all there is to it. I encourage you to just go ahead and give it a try. You really can't do anything too wrong with this, and if it doesn't work out, you just can wash it off with water. So I hope you enjoyed the video on making a light switch cover using dried pressed flowers, and stay tuned for my next video. I'm not sure what it's going to be yet, but it'll either be something about gardening or it'll be something about pressed flowers. So thank you for joining, and I look forward to seeing you back again.